This is the story of how a boy from Brooklyn, born into a poor family with no resources, ended up building the world's largest coffee empire, which today is valued at over $100 billion and employs more than 400,000 people. I'm talking about Howard Schultz, the genius who, through Starbucks, revolutionized the coffee industry. Schultz was born in the summer of 1953 in the working-class neighborhood of Canarsie, Brooklyn. His mother was a homemaker, and his father worked low-paying jobs as a truck driver or factory worker. The family faced severe financial difficulties, and things worsened when, at the age of 7, Howard's father had a serious workplace accident, leaving the family in extreme poverty. This profoundly affected Schultz's childhood, shaping his personality, which was influenced by the hardships he experienced growing up. His experience in school wasn't pleasant. He felt out of place among his peers due to his family's economic struggles. This led Howard to find refuge in sports during his youth. In fact, thanks to his talent in football, he earned a scholarship that allowed him to study communications at Northern Michigan University. It was there that Howard began to stand out, developing a leadership personality and a growing interest in business. However, the path wasn't easy. Schultz suffered an injury that caused him to lose his athletic scholarship, but he wasn't willing to give up his studies. To continue, he had to take out a loan and work various jobs. He even sold his own blood to fund his education. After graduating, Howard joined Xerox Corporation, a pioneer in the photocopier and printer industry, where he successfully honed his sales and marketing skills. A few years later, he changed course and began working at Hammerplast, a housewares company, where, at the surprisingly young age of 26, he had already risen to the position of vice president and general manager of U.S. operations. He didn't know it yet, but his life was about to change forever. In 1981, after 3 years working at the company, Howard noticed that one client was buying a large volume of high-quality coffee machines. That client turned out to be Starbucks. At that time, Starbucks had only 4 stores and was focused on selling high-quality coffee beans and brewing equipment. It wasn't the coffeehouse chain we know today. Its stores were focused on selling coffee beans and educating customers on how to brew it at home. In 1982, after trying the company's coffee, Schultz realized the immense growth potential of Starbucks. A few months later, after lengthy negotiations, he convinced the 3 founders of Starbucks to let him join the team. Thus, Schultz joined the small company as director of operations and marketing, with the ambition to turn Starbucks into one of the largest companies in the world. Schultz's first step in transforming the company was to travel to Milan, Italy, where he was inspired by the concept of the espresso bar. This concept aimed to make the cafe a gathering place to enjoy quality coffee in a social environment. Convinced that this model could revolutionize the American market, Schultz decided to bring it to the United States, which would ultimately catapult Starbucks to the next level. In 1984, while still working at Starbucks, he opened Il Giornale in Seattle, replicating the Italian cafe concept. Shortly after, he decided to leave Starbucks to focus all his efforts on Il Giornale. In 1987, he gathered a group of investors and acquired Starbucks for $3.8 million, merging it with his own company and taking over as CEO. After this bold move, Starbucks faced serious financial challenges. The rapid expansion plan, which involved the constant opening of new stores, required a large amount of capital, which the company lacked. This created tensions with investors, who adopted a more conservative stance. Schultz wanted to transform Starbucks stores into places where customers could spend hours away from home and work, offering a high-quality product standardized across all locations. Additionally, his focus on innovation was constant, launching new products like the Frappuccino. This impressive growth transformed the company, which grew from 100 employees and 11 stores in 1987 to more than 60,000 employees and 3,500 stores worldwide by the year 2000, a nearly unprecedented expansion. Additionally, to finance this expansion, Starbucks went public on the NASDAQ in 1992. In 2000, with the company already well established, Schultz stepped down as CEO to focus on designing the company's long-term growth strategy. Everything changed when, 8 years later, one of the largest financial crises in history hit. In 2008, Schultz resumed leadership of the company and returned as CEO because Starbucks was in a very delicate situation. Due to the crisis, sales dropped, and the financials were not looking good. Schultz was forced to close 600 stores in the US and 61 in Australia, and implement measures to restore the quality that had always characterized Starbucks. From 2008 to 2017, the company continued under Schultz's leadership, who pushed the growth achieved during his previous tenure. Focused on innovation, he promoted the development of a digital app and the expansion into Brazil, India, and China. It is clear that with Schultz at the helm, the company always thrived. More recently, Starbucks faced the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic, which forced the temporary closure of nearly all its stores. To survive one of the most difficult times in recent history, the company had to adopt delivery services and close 400 stores in the US. Today, Starbucks has 36,000 stores in more than 80 countries, employs over 400,000 people, and generated over $36 billion in revenue in 2023. The company is valued at $125 billion. Today, at 71, Schultz is a writer and gives lectures on leadership. With a net worth of $4.5 billion, he maintains that the true measure of success is not money or power, but the impact you have on other people's lives.